All righty. Well, let's get started. Everybody's got a busy day. Like y'all know, we're here to kind of go over our cutouts. The cutout line at MacLean does about approximately about $25 million a year. Domestically, we offer two voltages, really 15 and 27 kV. Um, Back in 2016, IEEE came out with a new certification. MacLean worked diligently and tirelessly for 3 years until they were able to certify our polymer cutouts with that new certification in 2019. These are the most stringent standards in the world, and that's why I know we offer an unbelievable cutout in terms of performance. Before, there was a really rough and tough standard, 2016. There was a 2008 standard that applied mostly to porcelain, and that's where most utilities have been accustomed to. These are also great still to this day for high contamination environments. They're a little heavy, obviously, than a polymer body, but we've been manufacturing these for years, and we even purchased this line from S&C, who've been doing it for many decades before us. So now, if you're selling our polymer cutouts, we've got three major points to sell upon. We've enhanced our design. We've gotten our chip placement more effective. We've included our rubber thickness around our end fittings. This helps with lightning puncture resistance and durability. We optimize our sheds. So this helps when they're at an angle in tracking and erosion testings, and it also makes it kind of easy to identify 15 versus 27, 1/6, and 1/10 sheds. And finally, we also really worked hard on optimizing our rubber. We kept our 15 kV weight the same as it had been previously, and we actually reduced the weight of our 27 kV cutout by 0.23 kilograms, which might not sound like a ton, but that makes a big difference to your linemen when they're up in the field installing tens to hundreds of these a day. And for Dean and Tony, this is kind of on the left what our polymer cutout used to look like. You will see this also from a lot of the competitors. Some of the low-cost options that are out in the market are still using this type of a design. On the right, you can see kind of where I've circled some of the major changes we've done. The rubber thickness at the top is kind of obvious. You can kind of see where we actually get most of the rubber covering the metal. The uniform shreds, again, for tracking resistance. And then one of the biggest ones that popped up just this year, we widened our hinge to allow even more interchangeability of fuse tubes. You may find customers that really like the MacLean polymer body, but they want to use a different type of fuse tube than what we provide. There's some other stuff in the market that provide um, fault interruption with Eden Cooper has one they call an ELF, and that doesn't have any expulsion whatsoever out of it. S&C offers something called a trip saver, which is an automatic fuse tube sort of design that will reclose itself, saving anybody even having to go out there at all. No lineman or bucket truck needing to go out in the market. They claim that's $1,000 savings each time. But it used to be we had kind of a narrow hinge focusing back on the MacLean stuff. Now we've got a much wider hinge that should fit anything and everyone's. So when people are looking for a great cutout performance, but for whatever reason have some other fuse tube they want to use, that doesn't rule us out of being a possible supplier to them. We also offer our cutout and arrestor combos. These don't occur as often, but they do lower the total installation cost because you're going to find a cutout and arrestor pretty much the exact same place. The arrestor, more than likely in your distribution lines, is going to be protecting that transformer. That's a $20 to $50 part protecting a $1,000 trash can transformer. So we do have some utilities. I don't think I got tons in Tennessee. I've seen some quoted in Wisconsin for these options, but they get our Z-Force distribution arrestor racked together with a cutout. This is actually a little bit of a slide about our arrestor. Again, somebody asked you more about it. We have a fantastic design on our arrestors that really reduces any type of moisture ingress. We have some stealth stuff on our website if you guys are interested in it. I know it's mostly on cutout, so I'll just slide by it. But we use a great design that's made our arrestors very popular in the previous years all around the country. This is just kind of a brief look at what our sell sheet looks like. We have links to this I can send you guys as well. This really just highlights everything I just went over. On the left-hand side, you get a good cross-section showing our fiberglass rod, our rounded corners around our end fittings, the thickness of the rubber, as well as the shed optimization. You can show them kind of our hinge down at the bottom. On the right, you'll see a lot more of the same features I highlighted in the previous slide. Circles drawn to actually zoomed in pictures to show exactly what I was talking about, which hopefully she'll get you in the door and talking to anybody in standards, maybe purchasing that you're offering a quality product that should be the absolute best cutout on the market. And that's kind of it for kind of a quick overview. I'll open up the questions now from Tom or anybody else. You guys got anything you want to know about the polymer cutout and porcelain cutout line here at MacLean?
Did you talk a little bit about the mold over end fittings and all that?
Sure. So I've got for those you can still see it on our left-hand side. If you look carefully at the bottom and the top of the connection points for the cutout body to the sleeve shield and the hinge, on the left-hand side, you can see how much more metal was exposed. This is a problem, obviously, for arcing. Any more metal is going to increase the chances for lightning puncture. So what we did was we optimized how much rubber we put on it while still keeping the weight the same. So this is the same rubber formulation that we use in our transmission insulators that have been in the field since the 80s and have a great track record of performance. And now we've just added even more rubber to our polymer cutout, increased the shed size too for tracking resistance. We're really put a lot of effort into our IEEE 2016 certification to put out something that we knew would be the best performing cutout body in the market. So, if you're talking to a guy and he wants to know, why should I buy a MacLean over a Lumiform $12 cutout piece of stuff, and you can remind them in Tennessee we do have thunderstorms and lightning strikes and stuff like that, and it'd probably be better for their system if they had a polymer cutout that performs as well as ours does, versus the cost saving option may save them on the front end, but will not help them if they have an outage. I have to send a bucket truck out to repair at the bare minimum. And the very last slide too, this is a sell sheet we'll send link to as well. You get a really good cross section, and at that center fitting there, though, you can see the real big chunk of rubber we've got over that, as well as the bottom end fitting before it goes into the hinge. I mean, that's just some really, really good examples of how thick of a rubber and insulation we're putting on our polymer cutout. And insulation, of course, is the name of the game.
So going back to the fuse tubes.
Sure.
So just so I can get it correct in my head, those are interchangeable. They can buy those from, a different brand and put into your cutout, correct? Or am I wrong in that?
No, you're exactly correct, Dean.
Okay.
Ours comes with a fuse tube, but they do have the option to buy just the body if they'd rather. For whatever reason, you'll find that standards guys have stuff that they trust, and the old adage I like is you never get fired from buying what's already on standard. So, you're going to have a lot of guys like, well, we've used a Hubble forever, but we can't get any delivery from them. I guess we'll try yours, but we don't want to trust your fuse tubes. And also, no problem.
Right.
Put our bodies up there. No big deal.
Okay. That's great.
That shouldn't happen too regularly, but it may occur.
One of our customers, when they would take the porcelain down, they would just put in their existing fuse tubes, and so yeah.
Exactly, Tom. Save me some expense there. Yeah.
And then, do you know why they would use a blade versus a fuse tube, a fuse blade? We sell them.
The blade, again, so we do have an option for a solid copper blade, Tom's referring to. It has a little bit better performance than the fuse tube from an electrical value standpoint, and it doesn't expel any material. But some people can bend them relatively easily. They're not as robust as a fuse tube. And some of these guys in the bucket truck, of course, are slamming these things from a few feet away with a hot stick and they can sometimes damage the copper blade. So it varies. It's, again, usually preference from the engineering standard group at whatever public co-op in Tennessee or IOU in Wisconsin wants to do. But we do have that option. You'll see that on our website.